Well, let's try this again. What's up, guys? This is Ringo from Medsphere, and today we are finally going to explore on the second question of TOK. This is an insight video. Again, I will briefly, and I'll try to limit this to, like a 5-minute, 6-minute video, and I will go for this more in depth in the paid video on my website. And when you see this video, I am pretty sure that I have posted that paid video for the second question and hopefully the first question as well on the website. So do check that out. I don't think it's that expensive. I can't remember the price, but I think you can go check it out, and it's, you can pay via PayPal and you can have access to it all day long, all night long, until like forever actually. So basically what we have here is the second question. Actually, a lot of you guys have gave me some comments to do more of these questions, which I will do, and we are going to explore this question. And just to give some insights into this question, this is quite early in the morning. I'm still a little bit off, so yeah, do bear with me. Let's focus. There is a sharp line between describing something and offering an explanation on it. To what extent do you agree with this claim? Now, the first obvious thing to do is to distinguish the difference between describing and explaining. Describing, I would define it as something that it requires you to use sense perception. Something that you see and you're describing it from your own knowledge, and this description paints some sort of picture in other people's mind, and they can actually also picture this. Yeah, it's kind of a little vague. Whereas explanation provides some sort of reasoning, some sort of emotion into making sense of what you are trying to describe, or somewhere along that line. I know it's still a little vague, but I'll go into a little bit more detail, so that makes a little bit more sense. The key here is the ways of knowing. The first thing is to distinguish the different types of ways of knowing needed in describing and explaining, and argue whether it is the same thing or it requires a different set of ways of knowing. Now, the second word here that bothers me is a sharp line. The sharp line to me means that there is not a sharp line. So the claim is that there is a sharp line, and the counterclaim is that there's no sharp line. And when there's no sharp line, it means that there is a blend between explanation and description. And this comes down to the different areas of knowledge. Now, in arts, I think that would be an easier one to do. In the areas of art, describing is just describing that piece of painting, describing that form of art you see. I mean, the color, the texture, the type of move, the type of mood that they're trying to set. That is the description. And description often comes from the audience of that piece of art, because they're viewing it. They might not understand the exact message that the artists want to explain, but they do, and they can describe what they're seeing as an audience. Whereas the explanation in arts, well, here it comes in both ways. The explanation in arts could be a manifest of interpretation by the audience. This requires more ways of knowing, maybe some sort of reasoning, some sort of emotion, or some sort of memory or experience that they have experienced, and that's why they're making this kind of connection between what they see and what they think that the artist is trying to portray to them. So we'll go through more of this with example in the paid video, but that's the concept. In art, I think you have to really distinguish between the artist and the audience. Now, for natural science, this is quite an interesting argument, because in natural science, in biology or chemistry, there's a lot of times we can actually see something. We can see a phenomenon. We can see something working, and then we offer an explanation for it. Now, that is totally distinctive, whereas describing things is something that everyone can see, everyone agrees that they're seeing this thing. Whereas explanation has to do with a lot of more research, a lot of more falsification, justification, in terms of finding why this phenomenon occurs. But here it comes into that gray area. What if it is some scientific knowledge, such as, like, I don't know, gravity, or some sort of things that you can't describe, something that no one can see but only derive through some sort of reasoning? I mean, we've never seen a black hole. Well, actually, I have to rephrase that. We've never directly seen a black hole, but we can have inference that a black hole exists. Now, can we describe a black hole if we have never seen it? Or can we actually offer an explanation to why we think a black hole exists and the property of the black hole? So in physics, especially in some sort of astronomy or even quantum physics, if it is something that we can't directly observe, can we still talk about that without explaining? Can we still, I mean, there's nothing solid to describe, so the only thing you can do is explain. And when you're explaining, you're technically describing at the same time. So that's where the blur line, I would suggest, I would think it comes from. And yeah, so within the sciences, sometimes something is not what I call tangible. It's not something that you can hold on. It's not something you can point to or point at. That's where the reasoning comes in. And the last bit I want to explore in this prescribed title is the sense of objectivity versus subjectivity. When describing something, oftentimes it is something objective. What I see and what you see from a, I don't know, from a water bottle. Let's just say, I have a water bottle here. You see a water bottle, I see a water bottle. You see a water bottle with blue cap, I see a water bottle with a blue cap. And, there is some sort of objectivity into the describing part. But whereas the explanation, it could be subjective. If I ask you, why do you think it has why is it blue? Is it blue? You can explain it's blue because you can explain it by saying that, oh, it's blue because it's reflecting blue light in terms of natural science. Or you could say it's blue because the color is blue. So the explanation offers a much more subjectivity onto it, because the concept of explaining, like explain why it is blue, well, it could mean a lot of things. If I was to read this, oh, explain why it's blue, then I could say, do you want me to explain because of a, physics perspective, or do you want me to explain using a human science perspective? So that's the nature of it. And I think that this question is interesting because it's like, to what extent do you agree with this claim? Unlike all the other questions, which argues using two areas of knowledge or using ways of knowing, it kind of left the question hanging. And you can interpret it with multiple areas of knowledge, even within your one examples. So I think that this is a fun question to play around with. Would I recommend this? Depends. If you have a really good example, yes, definitely. But I think that this is quite a hard question. It seems easy, but yeah, I think it's quite hard. But that's that for now. I think that, in this free video, I would leave it right there. I would go into more details in depth of the examples and how we kind of interlink the different types of areas of knowledge. So that's for now. So peace out. Remember to hit the like, hit the subscribe button, and go visit my website. This is Ringo from Ezra. Bye.